G'day everyone, welcome back to another episode. So this week we've got some more horrible weather, so I thought I would bring my generator back here and strip it apart, give it a service and see if it's usable on the boat. So let's come and take a look at the generator. So I picked this generator up at the auctions. I didn't pay basically anything for it. I got it as a steal, a couple $100. It's not in bad condition, it looks alright. It's very dusty. It's come from a country town. It used to be owned by the town's council, and it basically, after they get a certain age, they get rid of them and buy new ones so that, you know, they get more reliability on their jobs, which is fair enough. So these retail for about $5,000. I only paid a couple $100. So, but I did have to travel 4 hours to go get it to the country town and 4 hours back. So it was a whole day job trying to get this thing. No problem. So it's obviously got some spider webs. It's been left in the shed for a little while. Looks like we've got a bit of an oil leak down here. The resilient mount is covered in oil, but that could just be from hopefully the leaking oil filter. So that's okay. Well, hopefully it's okay. We'll find that out. But it's not rusty or anything. Just very dirty. We've got a broken fuel cap here. You can see the split. Let's see if we can. So I can't really see it. There we go. It's broken. I haven't seen if there's any petrol in there at the moment. As you can see, a lot of dirt and crap just on it. So I think the first step will have to be clean it up before we strip it out. I'm going to clean it up. Then we're going to have a look at the fuel, make sure that's okay, and we'll start it up and actually see if it starts. I haven't tested it yet, so yeah, we'll see how we go with that. And once if it does start, we can't stop there. We're going to have to strip this whole thing down and get it all serviceable, so it's basically like a new one going into the boat. So this is a Briggs & Stratton's motor. And this Briggs & Stratton's is running a Vanguard 16 horsepower engine. So this engine is very commonly used in Australia. We have them a lot here on ride-on lawnmowers, a lot of cement mixers and generators, and a lot of stuff that'll go out on the construction site and need an independent motor, like big pumps and systems like that. Very common, easy to get parts for, and they last forever. These things can be rebuilt as many times as you want, basically. Very reliable engine. That's why I decided to pick this one up. This is a 7.4 constant load, so 7.4 kVA generator. It runs at the peak efficiency at 8 kVA. So basically, when you turn an appliance on, it draws a lot more power in that first initial startup when all the inertia is from standing still to spinning up. It draws a lot more power in that peak efficiency range. Once it's basically going, then your peak range drops down to a stable range of using electricity. So at a constant load, this thing can run at 7.4 kVA. Very big generator. I know a lot of boats, they go all the way up to 19, 16 kVA generators. We don't need that. What you need to do is calculate how many appliances and what they will draw at any given time. And then basically work out what your constant load and peak load is for your boat. And then you want a generator that will cope within about 70% of all that. So this thing needs to cover a minimum of, well, obviously 100% of your load, but you can't just get a massive generator and then only use 20% of that generator's capacity or 50% of that generator's capacity. You always want to use 70% of a generator's capacity of use. Otherwise, this alternator that's in here, it's basically out of a car. It's exactly the same as an alternator. This generator in here, if you are not using it within 70 to 100% of its actual range, you will die quicker than if you were to only use 10% or 20%. it doesn't sound right, but because like with most engines, if you overload an engine or even an electric motor all the time, you shorten its life capacity. With a generator, it's the opposite. If you're not using the power it's drawing, you actually shorten its life. So you got to match your generator to all the electrical usage that you're actually going to be doing. So with that said, let's get into a time lapse of me cleaning it up.
Color crib. We were running through the fields, you had flowers in your hand. We were all chasing phantoms. Baby, you would hold them still and I'd grab on. Yeah, well, if you're scared of the dark, let the rundown street lights be your stars. And then picture swings in the park, and I'll swing with you. Sing it with me. Sing it with me. Living if you're already dead. It's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Follow it down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. The next time.
Alright, we're at least clean on the generator now. Doesn't look so bad. Still needs a bit more clean work, and some of the paint job is just frayed after time. So we'll have to clean a lot of that up. But we have a clean generator. So the next step is check the oil and the fuel to make sure it's at least not going to cause any damage if I try to start this thing up.
You'll have grown into a woman in a single bound. I hope I never take you for granted. Spending time with you is all that I wanted. But I'll go back to when you were small, burning all our favorite records on the CD-ROM. We were splitting headphones in a hammock to a soundtrack we could get lost in. Sing it with me. Sing it with me. And we'll go howling at the moon. It's no use living if you're already dead. It's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars.
Alright, the oil is looking good. I think we're ready for a test run. So that was a little bit low on oil, maybe because of that little oil leak on that other side, but that's fine. Topped it up a little bit. It is a pull start. When I install this on the boat, I want to swap this out with an electric key start so that I can have the electric start in where the sail locker will be. I don't want to be climbing in there all the time to turn this on. So I want a key start, and that will be wired up over by the nav station. So that would be preferable, but we'll see if it works for now. When I do strip this down, back here should be a flywheel with a whole bunch of teeth in it. And if that's the case, there's a modification that you can do to put a key start down here. But let's getting ahead of ourselves. Let's see if we can kick it over. It's going to take a bit to get it started, but as I was starting it, a whole bunch of these legs came out. So I'm going to assume there's a very unhappy huntsman spider inside there. Sorry about that. Alright, so what that's showing me is that the engine is running fine, all the pistons are holding compression, everything's going great, except for it's not getting fuel from the tank into the carby. That could be heaps of things. So it could be that there's a blockage at the bottom of the fuel tank. There's only a tiny bit of fuel in there. You've got a hose that runs along here, and then there's a fuel filter there, and then that goes into the carby. That fuel filter can be blocked. All the things from the tank to the carby are all little things, but from the carby onwards, you know, they're the more expensive and time-consuming things to fix. So I'm happy with it just starting like it just did. It's going to be a little bit warm now, but because you can touch that, that's the exhaust. You touch it, it's warm, it's not heaps hot. However, I don't want to keep running this thing because I don't know how good the oil filter is. I don't know if there's a whole bunch of crap in the bottom of the sump. I don't know how great the carby is, although it does seem to be working. You've got a choke here. I can leave with a choke, no problem. So everything seems fine this end up, not so much. However, all the fuel lines on this, I'm going to be ditching them anyway. I don't want this fuel tank. It's got a broken cap, so I don't want that cap anyway. This is the air intake, and I'm going to be doing a much bigger air intake for this particular boat. We're not going to have it in this arrangement, so to get it in the boat, I can't have this fuel tank on, because from the bottom of the generator to the top here is 400. From there to there is an additional 200, and I can't get that through the hatch. So that comes off. This will be coming off. I have to remake a new exhaust outlet. So there'll be exhaust port bolted on here with a gasket. It basically comes up, has an S-bend, and then it will have a non-return valve on the bottom, and then that'll go out to the boat. So when it's on, the flap in the non-return valve opens, allowing air to push all the water entrapped into that S-bend out. However, it won't allow water to come back this way and get into the motor. So there's that. New piece going on there, new air intake, and a soundproof box to go around this. But as it stands, it turns over, it's not seized, it holds compression, it just is not getting fuel into the carby. So I will dismantle this and start the refit basically. It is looking better. That poor spider lost all his legs though.
Follow it down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to.
Don't know if you can hear me, but this is another reason why I'm not at the boat today and trying to do some work at home. We've got flooding in the backyard. It's pretty big storms coming through. This is really odd for us. It's like the middle of November and it's just awful weather. We're just like a couple of weeks out from like getting close to summer, and we just can't even use the outdoors anymore. It's just rain all the time. We've never had anything like this. But yeah, mid-November flooding and rain all the time now. Well, you guys did miss a little bit. I took some more parts apart and took the cover off, cleaned the generator. I cleaned the fuel filter so we can run it on actual fuel instead of alcohol. I took apart some of the electrics. This solenoid had a bit of corrosion around these little switches here, so I cleaned that up. I'm just about to put this back together so I can give it a test run and plug the fan in. And at the moment the fan is not going when I turn the generator on, just to test it. So I'm going to give it another go now that I've cleaned all the terminals up on this solenoid. So let's see how it goes. So it starts out nice and easy. This engine is perfect. I'm not getting any power down to the fan. So I've just got to sort that little issue out. My multimeter is at the boat, so I can't troubleshoot the generator at the moment. Worst case scenario, we might have to get the generator unbolted and sent away to be all looked at and rebound or something. Not a big issue, just an extra couple $100 I was hoping not to spend. I do have a spare backup generator if all else fails that this one's no good. But considering from there back, it's running perfect right now. I still will change the oil, change the filter and clean out the fuel lines a bit better. Replace the fuel tank. However, yeah, I still will need to work out what's going on from here back. Not a big deal, just something I still have to look at. Alright, unfortunately this generator is not playing the game for us at the moment. I've had it running, I've just put this all back together. We're not getting any power out of this generator, so I've had the multimeter on here. My father-in-law is an electrician. He's come over and he's had a look. We've put the multimeter in the plugs. We've taken it back off. We've measured the poles between the positive and negative, or negative terminals on the actual stator inside. We're not getting any, like, it's not producing a full circuit. So something's blown out somewhere. We've tested the solenoid. This capacitor is, seems like it's okay. But yeah, we can't tell where the problem is. So it's probably a burnt out winding inside this generator. That's no problem because I got this so cheap and I know that half of it works well. I am going to send this away to get rewound, so it'll be just like a brand new generator when it gets back. Unfortunately, the guy who is going to do the job, he is going to want this engine all assembled and all together so he can do his own diagnostics and tests. So this is going to not get stripped down and we're going to simply ship this whole thing off to get fully reconditioned by a professional. So unfortunately, no more work to do on this generator. So in the meantime, because it's still bad weather, I brought the prop. I bought this second hand off of another guy. So basically what I'm going to do is strip all the paint back, get it all into brand new serviceable condition, and this will serve as a good prop for the starting out and doing trial runs with the boat. Eventually we might go to a folding prop. I'm not too convinced of the best idea yet, but yeah, this will work well. I've done the calculations for the RPM from the diameter size to match with the motor and make sure we don't get any cavitation on the inside leading edge of the prop. This one will be okay. And as you can see, it's got really nice edges on it. This has not seen a whole lot of work, this prop. Still nice flat machine marks on there. So yeah, that'll be a good starting prop for us. It's a nice big one, like I think it's 20 something inches. Let's measure that. (19-inch). It's a 19-inch prop. I've got enough room to put up to a 24-inch prop on, but this one will work fine. And I got it for like $80, so that's fine. We'll just clean it up.
If you're scared of the dark, let the rundown street lights be your stars. Let them know who we are. Let them shine for you.
So you can see here, we've got a little bit of corrosion on this, which didn't show any of the corrosion before. Like, it had paint on it, and you can see in this one, they've filled all the holes up with bog, and you can see all the bog there, all the filler, and then they painted over it. So they've hidden all the corrosion, unfortunately. It's sort of uniform all on this side, and none of them are all too deep. They're all pretty shallow, just surface corrosion. It's a bit unfortunate. It's still a usable prop. I'm not going to bother welding all these up. You do put a bit of stress in the blades when you do that, and they come a bit brittle, and you know, you can do it, it's no problem. You just got to keep the heat down. But I'm not going to bother. It will last a few years. It's not going to last 10 years, but it will last a fair few years. At least it will get me through the sea trials that I've got to conduct on the boat when it goes out, and you know, I'm going to spend a lot of time just putting the boat through its paces, and this will do its job perfectly fine. And one day I'll have to upgrade it. But yeah, there is a bit of corrosion on it, unfortunately. It didn't look like that when we bought it, but oh, you can't win everything. But yeah, I'm still going to clean it up. It will still be a perfectly fine prop for the boat. It just won't be a forever prop. So let's finish it off.
It's no use living if you're already dead. It's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Follow it down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Said it's not worth living if you're already dead. It's not worth saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes straight to your head.
There we go, all cleaned up. Looks nice. Does have a bit of corrosion, unfortunately, but we can live with that. It's not too bad. Well, that's all we got time for. Like, unfortunately, not everything went to plan. We've got a little bit of corrosion in the prop, but that's all right. The generator needs rewinding, so no big deal for that, but it's a little annoying, a little bit of extra cost, but you can't win everything. So the weather looks like it's going to clear up hopefully next week. I'll be back at the boat. I'm going to still try and plow into the rest of the welding. We're so close to having all the hot works done internal of the boat, and that's going to be exciting because then I can start prepping it for blast and paint. I really want to get that done, so let's just push on with that. And yeah, hopefully everyone's enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you all again in a fortnight. Thanks, guys.